So here we are, we're in the pond. I'm just in the process of cleaning it down, just basically pressure washing it, getting it all nice and clean as possible so that fresh water can go in. And we've got to put the lid on that, but the window's all nicely in. So if you look, we've gone all around it with silicone, and then we've used a different colour silicone on the outside to match the tiles. But yeah, it looks really good. Yeah. So this is the view the fish will be able to see. And yeah, we'll see if it leaks, I suppose, when we get it when we get it filled up with water. So yeah, we've got inlet there, 2 inlets there. Well, one of them's actually an outlet, so this top one is going to be an overflow. That's just going to go out there and down the drain. And then the bottom one is the return from that heater over there. And this one is the return from the backy shower that's in the garage. So there's a backy shower over there, I don't know if you can see it. So the backy shower falls into that tank, and then it comes under here and out this hole here. So you can see it over the wall there, maybe. Yeah, so we're all plumbed up and ready to go. The only thing I've got left to do is sort the skimmer out, but I'm going to do that while it's filling up. So yeah, let's carry on with cleaning it out. Right, we're ready for filling. So it all looks really good. I'm really pleased with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill it up to the bottom of the window there. There's a couple of reasons I'm doing that. I'm not 100% ready with everything, so there's no point in filling it right to the top. At the bottom of the window, it'll put a bit of pressure on the fiberglass, so I'm not worried about anything going wrong with the fiberglass. It's obviously new fiberglass. It doesn't really want to be just left. It needs to be filled up really. There's a couple of jobs around there to do, and I've got to actually get the water system that's going to be filling it up perfected, but I'll show you that in a second. So the water's going to be coming in through that inlet there, and the reason for that is because I'm using this tank. So this tank's got the shower on it, so the pumps from the drum filter there over the shower and then into this tank, and then the outlet of this tank, the bottom drain there, it goes on a 4-inch pipe all the way onto the outside and then round the back of the tank there. So it converts from the 4-inch into 2-inch and goes through the wall. So that's the trip the water's going. But seeing as this tank is permanently linked to that tank, the bigger one, and the water sort of setup's already in here with the dechlorinator and that, it's easier to trickle in the fresh water trickle that we're going to have permanently going into this tank, into this, which is then going to feed that. So it's going to all have a trickle setup, but it's all just trickling into here to make my life easier. So we've got a brand new water meter on 0, and she's sat there, and then up here somewhere there's a valve. There we go. And off goes the water meter. So this is going to fill up, and then when it gets to the level, probably about there, I'll have to move that water meter, it'll start overflowing in the tank. So the first bit to fill up is this bit. Turn it right down so it's just trickling in, but that's how it's coming in. And it's been filling up for 2 hours and got to about there. So I'm just going to leave it trickling in like that all night. Let's see how we get on. But you can see there's a higher bit of flow. You can see it flowing across there. It's kind of funny. Yeah, that's right. Slowly filling up. Very slowly. See where it is in the morning. I put the underwater camera in, waiting to go back underwater. Kind of funny. So that was only 800 litres of water. It's a slow trickle. So there we go, that's a full night of trickling in. Not bad really, is it? The camera's underwater, so it's a good foot deep. Looking good. There we go. So we've put in 4,500 litres so far. And I'm going to speed it up now. There we go. That's a bit quicker. it gets speed up. The only thing I've got to watch out is this drum filter here. It uses the mains water and it can't really do a wash when that's flowing at full speed. That's one of the reasons I slowed it down so much. Cracking. So there we go. I'm going to leave it probably about here for today, which is just below the window. Not bad. Got the air running and it's still coming in. So let's have a look how much water we've used halfway. Right, and so here we go. Let's have a look. We've used 9,260, I think that says. 50. So 9,250 litres. Yeah, looking good. So what I've done as well is the air pump that's powering that is one of the 70s. Obviously it's quite a lot of air now, but when it's at full height it'll be a little bit less and it'll be just right, I reckon. But it's this one here, so that air pump there goes down a pipe all the way to that corner there where it then goes into the drain. So I've decided to put all the air pumps here rather than outside. So this one is just going to be for the bottom drain. This one's probably going to do the Eric and the K1 chamber, and then this one's going to continue to do these guys. But yeah, the Eric pipe runs down there and into it, and there's another pipe that runs down into K1 chamber. Cracking. So there we go, we are the next day and I've just started it filling. As you can tell, it's speeding up, and yeah, it has not moved at all, so I'm pretty happy with that. There's definitely no leaks or any movement in it, and all the welds will be set in the pipework, so we can bring it up now and start to allow water to flow into the pipework. That was not far enough. Yeah, just a waiting game for it to fill up, then we can start it all up and get the pumps running and see how it works. I always really enjoy this bit as the water makes its way up the glass and you can see the underwater bit and then the out of the water bit. I think it looks pretty cool. It's a slow process filling this pond up because it's not the fastest water inlet in the world, but it doesn't really need to be. It's doing a good job. But it'll be done by the end of today. So we've got it to there, which is not looking too bad, and I'm probably going to have to turn it off shortly because we've had a bit of an issue. As the water came through the system here, it backfed the valve. So there were a slide valve like that one there, right here. Anyway, it turned out the slide valve's actually cracked. So if we look at the slide valve, which is here, it's upside down, obviously. Tip that off, there you go, it's cracked there, if you can see that crack straight down there. So that was lovely, that leaks, so we've got to replace that. Fortunately, I haven't got to do any more welding because what I'm going to do is get the new one, disassemble it and fasten it to that, and fasten it to that piece of pipe there. But I mean, these things happen. It's just a shame that I've now got to wait till I can get hold of another one. Can't fire it up today. There we go. So we're looking really good. I'm quite pleased with it. It's all full, this bit, so we're like 95%. Just spill a bit of water, set it off. We are, yeah, so it's going to be coming up to probably about there when it's done. And the reason it's not fully height is because that skimmer's just open. I need to get a valve that goes on the end of this, which will be coming on Tuesday. And then the air pump that you're asking about that's powering that is the one that's over there. So it's that air pump, and then the one next to it is the one that's doing the Eric and the K1 chamber, or will be doing. But yeah, so it's looking really good, full. At least it's full, so we ain't got to worry too much about that, and this water's sort of warming up, acclimatising to temperature, because obviously it's got quite a long way to go, because these tanks, that one and that one, are at 20 odd degrees, and this one is probably about 14 or something. So at least we're letting it warm up on its own naturally anyway, so there's no rush. Right, we're back to filling up. So we've replaced that valve there that was broken, and it does not appear to be leaking anymore, which is great news. So let's get it filled up rest that way, and then we can fire up the pumps. But yeah, it's looking well. It's been full. It's had this much water in it now for a few days, so it's looking really well actually. I like how clear it is. Cool. Right, I think we're full enough to have an attempted fire up, so let's put that pump on. I haven't put the drum filter on yet, but we just want to see if we can get any water movement. Let's have a look. Let's go around there. Are we gonna get out? This pump that I've just turned on is the underwater return just here. Sounds like it's pumping. Yeah, it is. Look, pumping air out. Good. So that's this pump. It's wet here because I've just opened that to release the air out. I might shorten them actually. Might mess about with that pipework a little bit or move the pump. But yeah. Cracking, that's the first pump running. Let's have a look at getting the second pump running. It's probably doing well, the second one's doing most of the work. This one's really just running through the heater. In fact, what we ought to do is turn the heater on. Let's do that. That's the heater on. Let's see what it says. Starting up. I want to see if it admits to any water flow or anything like that. So let's give it a minute. There we go. So I probably can't read that because it's flashing a bit. There you can. 17.6 degrees. So it's actually pretty cool. But it's not as bad as I thought, because it's probably about 14 when I filled it up from the tap, so we're not doing too bad. Right, let's get... That's weird, that light's flashing. Let's get the next pump running, which will do that and the shower filter. Right, so the pond is actually at the water level that we're probably going to finish off at, because the drum filter's overflowing. So let's turn this on. So that's the main pump running. Ooh, a leak. Eventful. Right, let me get back to you about that leak. Right, so I didn't actually tighten that joint up there. So, well, out of all the joints I've done, one joint that I haven't tightened up's not bad. But let's get it turned back on. I think it's running. Let's go and have a look at the shower. Yeah, look at that, the shower's running. The question is, what level is this going to end up settling out at? Obviously, you know, it's going to raise it up a little bit because it's got to build enough pressure to force it into the pond. But we'll see. That might turn off the water inlet. In fact, that'll be that result there will be about the, oh god, just short of 18,000 litres. So, I mean, I'm going to say 18,000 litres. Wow, that's just a shame. Should have left it running another minute. Yeah, so it's actually bringing this tank up a little bit more than I expected, but it's not going to be running that fully into this tank. So that is a really powerful pump. Yeah, so it should be running out there into the pond. Good. So the second thing to do is some of that water that's going to that shower needs to go to this. So let's put that on. Not very fast at first. Or should I just open it? Might just open it, see what happens. Wow, yeah, that's too much. It only wants something in a bit then, doesn't it? Yeah, so I need to put some on that so it always opens it just a little bit. It's a bit excessive, isn't it? Flowing full speed. Fills it up quick. Turn the drain off or I'll never fill it up. Yeah, that's unnecessarily fast, but Gets the job done a bit quicker. Muck in there, I suppose. Right, let's turn that down, and I'll probably just put it about. Yeah, we'll have a look at how it falls over at blade in a minute. Looking good. Let's have a look what's happening in here. No sign of drum wanting to turn. UV light's working lovely. Water level in here is spot on. And there we go, that's coming over there. That's probably a little bit much water. Yeah, that's probably a little bit much. I'll just slow it down a touch. Let's go for there. Yeah, there. There we go. Oh, right, have we kicked any muck into the water? No, not that bad actually, is it? I mean, there'll be some of it, but... So what I'm going to do now, next job, is just leave it running, let it settle. Next job is to put some chlorine in, so I'm going to... obviously this is the only thing we've done here is fiberglass it, so all the filters and that have already been running on this pond, so they've been dry and got bad bacteria in them probably for however long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chlorine it to knock back any bacteria or anything that were in the original pond. Well, that happens, these are going to get, so the fish in there, the fish in them 2 tanks are all going in this pond. They're going to get formaldehyde and malachite green, and then the 4 days the chlorine will have gone. I'm going to do a fish treatment of chlorine, I'm not making it a swimming pool. The chlorine will have gassed itself off and be safe for the fish to go in. It'd be safe for the fish to go in anyway, but I'd rather no chlorine in it. And then all these fish will hopefully be pristine and going in a pristine environment. Because if there is, for example, that system there is a mature system, if it does have, which it could have, any sort of parasite on the fish, and you can scrape them as much as you want, you might miss something and there'll just be one little parasite and it's happy in there because they're all mature system, and then you put them in here, the shock might just bring out that parasite like crazy and just get carried away, and then you find it on the microscope, but you won't find it in that tank. It's when you get them in here you find it. So if you just treat them, in this case treat them anyway, hopefully you're bringing in clean fish into a clean environment for a fresh start. So that's my theory. But yeah, that looks mint. Pleased with that. Pleased with that. Probably got to adjust like the water level outlet on there. Mess about with the drum and such. I don't know whether to bring the water line up any further. I probably won't. I think the water level's actually quite nice at that level. You know, there's a fair gap, but you know, you don't also want the fish falling out the pond, do you? So I think that might be a reasonable gap. You know, it can actually come up another inch, but we'll work that out as time goes along. It'll all balance itself out, because as well, when you first put the pumps on, the balance is well out. Right, there we go, running. So here we are with the pretty much finished pond. So we're all at full water level, the pumps are all running how they should be. I'm just mixing in some salt, which I don't know if you can see it coming in anymore, you can't. So I've just poured that vat there full of salt, which we'll have a look at in a second. And yeah, it's running really well. I need to set the height of the drum filter running at. The heat is currently running because this pond's slightly colder than the quarantine tanks, but we're still at 22 degrees, so that's good. And the fish are getting ready to go in, so shortly the fish will be going in. So one thing I have done is I've raised this tank up. I don't know if you saw it on the previous video. This is the salt, by the way. So the salt's filtering through. The height of the water level in here was ridiculous. So I've raised it up another 4 inches so that we've got a bit of a differential, and then the pump as well. The pump can run. This isn't maximum. This is 7 on the little thing out of 10. So it's not doing too bad. I don't want it running at maximum, but it can run at maximum. So at maximum it just comes up a little bit further, but not much more than that really. It's pretty decent. And then the salt, you might be able to see it coming through. No, you can't see it anyway. You could have done it earlier, but you could see it just shooting through and coming around here. And but yeah, I'm really pleased with it. It's a cracking little setup. Yeah, and then that's working alright as well. So there we go, let's get some fish in. So there we go, we've got all the fishes in and it's looking brilliant. The fish seem quite happy as well, which I'm really pleased with. They've adapted to the new pond quite quickly. They're doing well, but a couple of snagging jobs left to do. I need to put a thing on that skimmer there, that's why just to block it off. But the skimmer's not actually running at the minute, so it is turned off. And then all this drum bit's looking really good. It'll probably have a cover over it like it used to, but for now it's going to be like that. And this shower's running perfectly. I'm really pleased with it. A couple of snagging jobs in here to do as well. I need to get this dechlorinator plumbed up and plumbed into that line there going into there. But yeah, this tank will be handy if there's any fish that need any looking at, and it makes them a little bit easier to catch. Obviously they're in the same water system, but if you are having trouble with one at fish, it can go in there, and at least it's in the same environment, and you just I'm making it easier for yourself really. It's like having a keep net in the pond, I suppose, but it's not in the pond, it's over there. But yeah, pretty pleased with how it's all running. Really pleased with the water level, how everything's settled. Can't complain really. So there we go. If you have any questions or comments, then put them down below. If you like this video, then like it. If you want to see more videos like this and fish related videos, then please feel free to subscribe. And I shall see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.